Who's pen?
I don't know whose pen that is.
I'm not allowed to have those pens.
He's not. Veto.
She confiscated my ink pen.
We
That's
have
why
laws, we have laws about that.
We have laws about me not wanting to hear this
I'm
in
sitting
the whole
here,
meeting.
I'm sitting here like fidgeting, clicking that ink pen and messed up her tape one time, so.
Just give that to you. Everyone has signed it except you. I guess I better get mine.
And I'm putting that on silent. See if my wife just texts me anymore. Yep, she's got a phone. And some little message.
One more minute. Actually, Linda was supposed to be here. Everybody knows she was,
She opened the door for me.
she did?
Yeah, about
There she is.
Okay, good. I was getting worried, Linda.
Yeah.
You're right on schedule, though. Thank you for,
All right. I'll let them.
Need some more keys, cards.
I know. I can't find my Kroger card. I don't want to go there.
I didn't knock my number in section people here just.
okay, good deal.
We had a bunch of points on our Kroger thing. And I think Daniel went out there and used our number and got his gas cheap.
You think he would do that?
He'd done that to his grandmother. She was gonna whoop somebody because she found out it was him doing it, and she thought it was so cute, you know.
Yeah. Okay. It is 4:45. It's time to call the meeting to order. Policy and personnel. I want to welcome everyone here. David, Jim just told me it's on his way. It'll probably be 10 minutes, would be my guess. But we do have to continue to carry on business, but I'd like to postpone 5 minutes or so if we can, because he's involved in the first section of it. I guess I could go ahead and switch agendas and move down a little bit. The first thing I want to do is give everybody a copy of the minutes. All the committee got one. And we want to read the minutes?
Make a motion to dispose of the reading minutes and accept them as written.
Okay. Well, let me make a change to them just a little bit before we do that. In the first paragraph, up at the top where it says a letter addressed to letter, it was an email instead of a letter. Okay. You remember that? We had a meeting on February the 9th, 2016 at the jail. We discussed that first thing. And would you read it?
I make a motion that we accept the minutes with an amendment that the wording, the letter, be changed to email. And I make a motion we accept those minutes and dispose of the reading of the minutes.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, 4-0. Oh, by the way, Wayne is in the doctor's office in Tullahoma. He wasn't going to be able to make it tonight. I guess I can move on to one other thing if I could. Herschel brought me a paper today. Part of the agenda is the Board of Equalization appointments. And he's got on here the following members are eligible for appointment to their second year terms to expire in April 2018. All three of them are Mike Elam, Mike Witherspoon, and A.C. Witt Jr. Mr. Randall Hitchcock, who was eligible for reappointment to his second term, however, he resigned due to health issues and does not wish to be reappointed. The Equalization Board recommended Mr. Carl Wilson be appointed to that board. Carl was with FHA for a long time, if you remember him, for years. And does anybody have any questions or anything there? If not, then
May I speak to that just a bit?
You
That
sure can.
Those three are eligible for their third two-year terms.
And it's their
And the Board
last
of
one,
the Board of Equalization, by resolution, I believe it's 24-2013, are eligible for 4 consecutive
terms.
two-year terms. So the first 3 are eligible for their third, and then this new appointment would be eligible for his or her first two-year.
but they recommended it to our county executive, Herschel Wells, and for them to all be reappointed. Do I hear a motion for that? Or
What's the
do
name
we
of that
need
committee they've been reappointed to? What's the name of the committee again?
equalization? Board of Equalization. Mr. Witt has been on there for years and years. I can't remember.
If somebody comes to the tax assessor's office and they have a complaint about their taxes, that is their appeal. But they can take it before. By state law, that's what they have to do.
We need to add that, okay.
Add that
Okay.
in.
Oh,
Add that
no,
to
different thing.
I'll make a motion, we accept the recommendations to the Board of Equalization Appointments.
The members be reappointed.
Yes.
And
The member be reappointed and Mr. Wilson be added.
added.
Second.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Linda just,
Keep this official.
yes, that's fine. Linda just handed me a paper that we need to add this to our agenda. It's a resolution to offer the opportunity of employment of health insurance coverage to employees defined as full-time status under the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act. And I think she just gave everybody a copy, didn't she?
Yes.
I probably need a motion that we add this to it.
Okay, who does this include that it's not already included?
That's our next thing on the agenda.
Okay.
May I speak?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
This, according to the Affordable Care Act, full-time is defined as 30 hours. Our policy manual says full-time is 38 hours. So we're in compliance with not only federal statutes, we're in compliance with our policy manual.
Okay.
That anyone who's considered full-time status, according to ACA, will be offered the health insurance. That's to keep us in compliance with federal law. Does not apply to any other benefits, just the health insurance, and that's to keep us in line with the Affordable Care Act.
30 hours and 38.
30 hours would be, according to the Affordable Care Act, is defined as full-time. And our policy manual is for 38 hours. We just want to cover our basis. I mean, we have to offer them health insurance at 30 hours if they're working an average of 30 hours. But we want to be in compliance with our policy as well, because our policy states specifically 38 hours.
Okay.
What we need right now is a motion to add this to the agenda tonight.
That's correct.
I'll make a motion, we add this resolution to our agenda.
Okay, do I have a second? I'll pause and give her enough time to write down, because I've done that and it's tough when you keep going. All in favor?
Aye.
It's 4-0. Okay. David should be here any moment, and
Do we have to forward this to full court?
Yes.
yes.
So we need another motion to forward this resolution to full court on the next docket?
I'm not sure, but we'll do it anyway if you want to make that motion. Just
I
to
so
be-
moved.
Okay.
Second.
Are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
All in favor?
Uh,
Any opposed? Okay. It's been added to the agenda and it's been approved to take to the full court. And I guess, we either go ahead, Linda, or wait another 2 or 3 minutes till he gets here. He's affected by it, so I'd really like for him to hear it. I guess we could go on with another portion of this, something that we've talked about a lot in these committee meetings is having a supervisor, and I know all of y'all are aware of that. We need a supervisor that, you know, he needs to be able to keep the scheduling straight and they know who to call, and also with Linda's recommendation and Melanie, he needs to look at the time cards and sign them, you know, when they're filled out, because I know the old ones had a place on it. I don't know if the new ones, but we can get that arranged where it'll have it on there. And you know, I would recommend that we appoint Jim Hartman for that position, or I would like for one of y'all to, I guess.
Are there additional pay? There should be.
There will be. We'll have to work on that with budget, and I've already spoke to him about that. We can't do it right this moment, but we're getting ready to start working on budget, so it'll come up shortly. And I definitely agree that there should. We've talked about that a lot in our meetings, that he should get more, because he's going to have more responsibility. And since he's here, we can go ahead and also in that motion, if somebody will make it, he will become, Linda will talk a little bit more about it, he'll be there all the time. He can go to lunch or whatever, but he won't be like everybody else and be able to be there in 15 minutes. He'll have to stay there to answer any questions. Am I covering that, Jim, what we've talked about?
That's correct.
And he is okay with that. So I
I need a
guess,
resolution stating that Mr. Hartman's going to assume the duties of supervisor.
I'll let Linda talk a little bit more about that if she wants to, because I know she came prepared to do that.
I think the resolution would need to not specifically name a person, but just that there will be a full-time position. Create a full-time position to oversee scheduling and maybe training, make sure the training gets done.
And he's already been doing that, but, you know, he's been doing the scheduling.
And we had some questions as far as the other ones that may be working or on call the 40 hours. We need some direction, because we're not really sure how we need to be paying them. If there are 3 full-time, 1 for each shift, 1 is required to be on site, and the other, it's my understanding, would not be.
Nothing would really change with them as far as being on call.
So they would not be on site the full 8-hour shift, correct? It would be on call?
You're on call.
So if they're not on site, but you all are going to call them full-time, will they be eligible for the benefits? The vacation, the sick leave, the holidays?
I wouldn't call them full-time. I would call them on-call employees, not to be scheduled more than 40 hours.
Part-time on call.
Shift time, but they're still part-time employees.
Part-time on call, basically.
And we worked this for 6 months, and we studied these timesheets, and we find that we are having them in that office over 30 hours of actually being in there working. Then we're going to need to revisit that. But
They're going to be working 40 hours.
I know, but they're not in the. Physically doing the job. They're on call.
And basically, and that's a little bit of trouble to them, they're going to need, or when you will have to write down on your card when you're actually on call, you're still going to get paid the same hours, is what they're saying, if that makes sense.
So for us, the timesheet, if they're going to be considered basically part-time on call, but they're not to exceed the 40 hours. Is that right?
But they can.
But they
Sometimes,
can?
Yes.
Okay. The 2 or 3 questions we had was, if the first question would have been answered, so they're going to be part-time.
Correct.
Okay, so that would take care of the vacation, the sick, and the holiday. If they work 30 hours on average or more, they qualify for the health insurance based on ACA guidelines, the Affordable Care Act. So we would
We have to
offer, we have to offer. Doesn't mean they have to take it, but we have to offer and they have to either reject it or accept it. And then the other thing is, if they're showing their time, they're going to get paid for the 40 hours on call. But overtime, basically, according to wage and hour, is it's based on hours worked.
Correct.
So we would need to know
Actual
hours worked
on
in
that.
addition
It
to
creates
their on-call.
a specific timesheet.
Yes.
Just for judicial commissioners.
Because they could be on call for 40 hours,
Right.
actually only work 30 hours. But if they had to work 3 hours over one day, they would not qualify for overtime, in my opinion, but that's y'all's call to make. We just need
Okay.
some direction.
If they work that extra 3 hours, then there's somebody else that was scheduled that would be coming in there to take up that. So they work 3 hours over. Just say you had a drug bust or something,
Yeah.
and they had to stay there 3 more hours.
That happens
And
sometimes.
that happens. Well, could that person, since they work 3 hours more, could they not
They'll still have to get paid.
still have to get paid?
But
I'm just
unless
thinking
they
about comp time or
actually
something
work
like
the
that.
40 hours, it wouldn't be overtime pay, it would be straight pay. That's why it's pretty important that we have those two numbers on those timesheets.
Actual work time and actual
On-call hours.
On-call time.
on-call. They'll be
If
paid
they
for all
don't
their...
get called at all at night, they still get paid for the same
What the actual
hours, just
work
like they're doing now.
time would show us whether we had to pay the overtime or not.
Exactly.
That would be,
Exactly.
if they actually worked over 40 hours, then they have to get...
They would have to get overtime. But if they're just on call and then they had to work extra one night, their timesheet might show 45 hours, say. You see what I'm saying?
But their actual
if
work
they-
time may still only be 16.
Right,
For the whole week.
right. So we just needed some direction on what the commission wanted us to do, because we don't make the policy.
Right.
That's a county commission. vote.
Y'all
I
got
think
to
that's a
vote, make a
very-
motion, we got to vote on it, is what she's saying.
Yeah, but I think
really.
that's a very, well, the most important thing
Thing
is
line.
legal. That's the legal thing to do, the right thing according to the labor laws. But I think it's a very fair thing to do, because they're getting paid
Right.
as an on-call employee and on the on-call labor guidelines, so that's,
And I know Erwin don't know nothing about none of this we're talking about, because he hadn't been in the sessions, but, you understand what we're saying, and you okay with it? I mean,
Well, he had worked HR at one time, so he probably knows
he may know
about
more about it than we do. But basically, the same thing you're doing right now, except you're gonna have to write on your time card the hours you're actually there. Am I correct on that? That's the only difference. You're still gonna get paid though, the same time.
But if you had an overlapping, and you would still get paid for that, say you were there 3 more hours,
Yes,
then you would get paid for that 3 hours, it's just not overtime.
it wouldn't be right, because he'd be working in that 40 hours, which is basic. But now, all 3 of them work over 40 hours at times, I know that. So, because it's easy to get caught out there.
all 3 of them don't actually work over 40 hours.
Right,
They're
no, they
actually
won't.
on call over 40
That's correct, yes.
That's
But
what's
I'm talking
great.
about when they get stuck over for 3 hours. I said 40 hours, that's not right.
Yeah.
You know, if they work one night, you could get
A
stuck,
shift
you'd have,
is
well, no, both. of them
12
you
hours
have.
or 8 hours, and a shift is 8 hours.
8 hours.
But many of them can go over their 8-hour scheduled shift
Sure.
many times.
And what we would be more than happy to do is develop a timesheet
That'd be great.
that they can actually show their on-call and then the hours that they actually were on site working. That way we can differentiate if they worked overtime or not.
And each one of them need to be trained on how to fill it out
Come in,
properly.
David. Here
An
you
unproperly filled out timesheet does not need to be turned in.
You sit here to take.
Basically, the comptroller's office looks at it
You are
as
official.
Correct, and that would be, if appointed supervisor, that'd be his job. If his timesheet's not correct, then they redo it.
I'm sorry, would you kind of tell that again where David will know what we're doing here? He just now come in, and I apologize.
We were trying to figure out, because we were in kind of a dilemma as far as payroll on the full-time or 40-hour weeks. And so as being on call, and not actually on site, we needed to find out about benefits and also about overtime.
Right.
Now, if you work consistently over 30 hours by Affordable Care Act, we have to offer you insurance. But we needed direction on that as well. So I think we've got that in this resolution here. That'll go before the full court.
What we're looking at, you're gonna have to write on your time card how many hours you're actually there at the jail. And you get paid 40 hours. If you work 33 hours or 39, you'd still get paid. And they'll get paid if they go over the 40 hours, just like you've always been doing. But what you're really looking at, the biggest change is they'll be offered insurance, right?
If they work 30
well, they're gonna
30 or more hours a week.
Yeah.
Actually work, not
Actually
on call. Actual worked hours.
And I don't know that. Do y'all do that most of the time?
There's a possibility, to work 30 hours a week, someone would have to be out quite a bit of time, and it's a mixed bag. You're gonna have opportunities where when you're out there, you're extremely busy, you're not gonna get an opportunity to do anything but to go from one desk in the back to one in the front, and if you have a day like that, you're gonna have an 8-hour day, or maybe 10 hours. The next day, you may come in and you may not write but 2 or 3 warrants, and you're fiddling with what to do, and there's other things to do besides writing warrants. There's a vast array of things that we do out there, and those other job responsibilities take time as well. But the question, I guess, to be answered is, are they out there 30 hours a day? And it's just no way of knowing.
And it's an average. We have to look back at an average 30 hours. So if they're working like this week, they actually worked 40 hours. Next week, they worked 28 hours. It's an average of what's worked that we have to look at.
I guess my question would be, once we establish an average, then does it become the standard, or does the average change?
It can change from year to year. No, it's on a yearly basis.
Okay, so
On a
once we
yearly basis.
establish a baseline that they have gone over this 30 hours, is that one time or any number of times? I mean, I realize that it's an average, but
Yeah, it's looked at on a yearly basis.
Okay.
We'd have to look at it over a
so
26 pay period.
The only way I think it sounds like we could be safe is go ahead and offer them the insurance.
If
I
they're
don't think we
starting-
could be safe any other way.
Yeah, if they're starting to work 30 and they're working 30 hours, to be safe, we're going to offer, or we feel like we should offer them the insurance. Now, next year when we do the look back,
right. And I didn't mean to cut you off, because I know you want to speak. But once we establish this, then once we start developing hours, and you can look at those in the finance division,
right.
then you're going to make that assessment.
Yes.
Would that be correct?
Yes.
So you'll have the figures to
We're
be
gonna
able to
know.
make an assessment.
yeah, we're going to know by looking at the hours worked on. That's why it's going to be really, really important for not only the on-call hours, but the hours worked
Right.
on those time sheets.
Okay, now the next question on that is when you say hours actually worked, are you talking about hours actually writing paper versus you call 911 and they say, we're out on a DUI, sit there and wait
At the
at the
facility,
jail?
if
Then all
you're
of a
on
sudden-
site, you're considered working.
Okay, because then all of a sudden you've got 3 hours from the time that you talk to them, that they went to the hospital, they got a blood draw.
If
You're sort of
there,
sitting here,
you
know.
should be,
What
that
you
time should come
what you would expect to be an hour could very easily turn
into
into
3 or 4.
Right.
It's good, yeah.
So it's on site.
If you're on site, on the job,
Okay.
whether you're writing a warrant at that point or waiting on them, you're
Or doing
working.
something else that they're talking
Yeah,
about that they
you're
do.
working.
So that does not encumber the travel time if you get a call to go out there, or does it start
it's from-
once you arrive on
And do
site?
you notify 911 once you're on site? Or
Notify. Typically, we don't, because we're rushed in to do
Okay.
what we need to do, but they notify us to arrive, to come out, and we've got a 15-minute
Okay.
time frame to get there, which is certainly adequate for most people. And then, once we're on site, what I guess we're at is that once you arrive, your time starts in terms of the
Basically.
accountability towards the on-site hour.
Right, basically, it's no different than us up here, you know, might be en route to work 30 minutes, not me, but en route 30 minutes before you have to be at work. But once, I don't get paid until I'm at work.
Right.
Here.
But y'all don't actually go anywhere until you get a call. If you ain't got a call 2 hours, you stay at home, or what are you gonna do? That makes sense.
Now, I normally always do check with 911 when I'm getting ready to leave,
Yeah, I do too.
in case there's something else sitting out there where we don't have officers having to wait on us.
That's just what we need on the timesheet, is maybe the time you got there and then the time you left, so we can get the hours that you actually worked. Because we want to make sure if you worked overtime, you're getting paid your overtime.
In a typical day, can you get called in 2 times, 3 times, 4 times a day, your shift?
Could be any number of times. Yeah, I mean, there's no way of knowing. I'm out there virtually all the time anyway. But I did,
Your job
it's
is
not
different
uncommon for me to do 12, 15 more a day.
But you're there during the daytime. But like you, do you get called in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out? How many times, what's the maximum times you've been called in and out?
6 in one day.
And then on that timesheet, you're gonna need in and out, in and out, in and out 6 times on every day. I'm just thinking about the timesheet, because that's gonna be your actual hours.
Yeah, because, you know, and then a lot of times you'll get out there, you'll get a call at, what did I get, at 2:52 today. I was there until, well, when I walked in here.
But we only actually have 3 people that work full shift.
Exactly.
So why not make this simple and offer 3 people insurance and drop it at that and be done with it, because they work 3 full
Well, that's
shifts?
kind of my thought, and I don't mean to interfere
That's what
with your
they already
debate.
said that, Charles, they're gonna do that.
We
Yeah,
have to
that's what
offer
we're-
them insurance.
They're
have
going
to.
to.
No, how do we get to the conversation we're having then?
Well-
Why are we asking this guy that works 5
We're
hours
asking
shift?
Jim to work full-time, to be there all the time,
Well-
and they're not, they're on-call people.
You misunderstood my question.
Okay.
If we've got 3 people working 5 8-hour shifts a week, we're working all the time until on call. We've always given them the option to go out there and stay at the jail if they want
If
to.
they want to, yeah, you don't have to
Why
though.
don't we make it simple and offer the 3 people that's working
Well,
full-time?
that's what we're here for, that's.
We can-
If all we're doing is offering insurance or not offering insurance, offering insurance to be
No, no.
done with it.
That's not everything.
That's
It's
not
the
if you-
retirement, the
Yeah.
holiday, the vacation, all the benefits afforded a full-time.
It's how they're working is what it is. That's what we're saying. If they work part-time, they're on call part-time and they write down when they're actually there, it's different than if they've got to be there.
Well, what if he wants to go out there every night and stay 8 hours?
Well,
Because we give him that option when we hire him.
he can.
We give him that option.
He can,
And also, if he's on call, he can't take off and go anywhere, so he's
except
restricted.
for lunch, yes.
Yeah, he's restricted about where he can go, so he's actually on duty.
Well, now that's what Linda needs to know, right, from this
Yeah,
committee.
we just
what
need
we're
to know
gonna-
which
are we
direction.
I don't want
You
to
wanna
restrict
keep
them
them-
to make
you
them
wanna
have
keep
to
them
stay there all the
part-time
time. I don't want to do
employees, you
that.
wanna
David
keep them
runs a
full-time
business,
employees with benefits.
and Aaron don't need to have to stay there either.
I thought we was only talking insurance,
No,
now you just-
full-time would be,
over 30.
no,
Yeah.
full-time would be 40.
Or-
Working, and then overtime and retirement and holidays and vacation and, yeah.
I think if you did that, it'd have to be a policy that this is what the positions are. You can't let people pick and choose. And some of these people have other jobs, so they like this opportunity to be able to come and go. So,
And I don't want to take that away from him, because, I mean, I know David likes it, because he
Well,
can
I do.
run his business and do this too.
And I know for me, if you're sitting out there and you're not actually with an officer or something, you can easily get in somebody else's way of getting their job done, you know, of the correctional officers or whatever. You know, even though you're in the office, it's still a distraction if somebody else is sitting there for them. Do you agree with that?
quite frankly, and no disrespect, I don't see that. I mean, you're there to do a job, and whether you're there a full 8-hour day or not should have no impact on anybody else's responsibilities around there. They've got their own comings and going. I guess a question was brought up, and I guess it's kind of piqued my interest, is that it was mentioned that, well, they have the option if they want to stay out there. Well, let's say, as an example, hypothetically, that Irvin said, well, I believe I'll just go out there and stay 8 hours.
Sure.
Does then he become a full-time employee?
That's what we need to find
And
out.
that's, but I mean, that question,
That's why we need direction from the committee, because
We've got to make that
the
direction,
policy.
that's what we've been talking about. We've got to make a motion, get a second, and vote on it, that this is the way Linda needs to handle it, and she'll take care of us.
What we can do is
Legal.
whatever the committee decides, and it matters not to me, we just need direction on how to pay so that we're covered.
And like if there's saturation patrols or roadblocks, I go out there.
Right.
I'm gonna get called 5-6 times, so there's no need me running back and forth. I sit out there, no big deal.
if they're arresting
Right.
15, 20, 30 people, and you think that you're going to leave there and get any distance, they're going to be right back out there because they've arrested another 5 or 6.
Holidays, you know, it's all.
You're beating yourself to death.
Might as well stay.
Mhm.
I
You
understand.
can kind of tell by the way the calls are going when you're there, or your first call when you get there, what's going on. If there's 6 people sitting and booking, you know, hey, I'm gonna be here a while. And it's rare, and I've only been full-time since, well, considered full-time since February. There's not been a night I haven't been called,
Right.
you know.
I'm personally reluctant to debate an issue that doesn't impact me if we're looking at the change that I'm segregated out from
We did
this issue. It's a
Well, that's
decision
what I
they
was
need
looking
to
at. We did vote him as supervisor.
We discussed it. We have
We
not
just
voted
discussed it, that's what I was saying. We need to go back probably and do that.
A
if we
full-time
could.
supervisor at will, it's a full-time position, judicial commissioner position, and the duties would be to set the schedule and do the, make sure the training is done.
Training's done and the time cards are signed. Huh? I'm sorry.
I think we need to write that out and not rush into that tonight. I think we can vote on it and say with
Well, that's
a
fine,
complete
sure.
job description with responsibilities and what a suggested pay would be. But that's what I think. I don't think we need to sit here right this very second and do that without.
And whatever the committee decides for those 3 positions.
We're asking y'all's thoughts on it. How do you want us to start to do this?
I think the people that are working the 3 full shifts ought to be considered full-time employees personally.
Okay.
I mean, if not, you've got a nightmare that's never gonna end. She's gonna be trying to do averages all for every year, then this year they qualify, next year they don't, and maybe they will, maybe they won't. That ain't no way to do nothing.
Okay, well, when could that be effective? Can that be effective right now, or does it have to wait till the next fiscal year? Because that's budget, that's extra expense to the budget, because
Well,
you've
if
got
they're
to
already,
pay
well, true
benefits.
for
The
benefits.
benefits have got to be added.
Well, we can start it, this year's about gone.
Yeah, retirement wouldn't start for 6 months,
Uh-huh.
because there's a 6-month probationary period. So that cost would not cost us anything until after the first of the fiscal
We've
year.
got to do the health insurance anyway.
The health insurance has to be offered
Correct.
based on
All
the
3
Affordable
of them.
Care Act. Vacation and holiday, there's also a 6-month probationary period. So all of that would not fall into play until next fiscal year. We just need some direction on how we need to pay these
I can see why
folks.
you do.
And another thing,
We're like, what?
when you make them all full-time employees, then we're going to have to write a policy for
Well,
how
we
we're
did that
going to
one.
handle holidays, because when they're scheduled and they're on holiday.
See, that's our
All
biggest
3 of them
problem.
are on holiday, and who's going to be the judicial commissioner to go
Well,
in?
we knew this was coming when we went to Four Shields. We discussed these same issues before we went to Four Shields.
Well, on down the line tonight, the next thing is we're gonna have to hire another employee, a fill-in employee. We'll have to, we ain't got enough especially if we, give them, if we go to vacations and,
Okay, well, let's say they are full-time employees. Are we going to
And I'm
require
good with that,
we're
no.
requiring them to be there then? They're 8 hours and they're there?
no, they're on call. I don't think so.
You want to be full-time
See, that's the
employees with
difference.
the
We're
full-time
not gonna
benefits
require 'em
and
to be
on
there.
call.
somebody's full-time, they have to stay on the job 40 hours, they work for the county, don't they? They can't leave and go back. See, that's the difference what we've been trying to figure out here.
If you were full-time and you were required to be on the job, would that affect anybody?
Not me, I'm retired.
What about you?
No, it wouldn't fit.
What about you?
It could, but I could make that work.
Who's that third
Okay.
one that's
Well,
not
it's
you?
This is the
Three of
third.
us.
It's just a 30.
You have 2 other part-time people on the
I
weekends,
thought it was, oh, that was you and 3 others.
myself and these 2.
Just 3.
I
Well,
think
that'd be
that,
the easy way to do it.
well, it
Charles
would get
said.
complicated when we want to hire somebody else. See.
That'd become a part-time employee, he's a part-time employee.
Yeah, if we hire someone else, that's what I think.
I think these guys are not gonna work forever. I mean, they're gonna retire or whatever. It would be a nightmare the next time we went to hire somebody and said, you're going to stay out there at jail for minimum wage on 3rd shift, full-time, you're going to sit there, you're gonna have a hard time hiring somebody.
Yeah.
But one of the benefits these guys for coming to work for us, which they've been here some years now, built their pay up. But starting out, it's rough.
Sure is.
If I was in their shoes, it'd be rough. So how
Mine
do,
too.
I mean, there's a whole lot of these questions just keep on going and going.
But I think it will work the way we're, talking about it, where they can stay part-time, on-call employees, and we would offer them insurance basically, and there, nothing else would change. They continue to do exactly what they're doing right now. And that would be for anybody that, other than the shift that's required, like Jim, he will be there.
So they would have to have at least 30 hours that is on site,
Average,
average.
which personally I don't
To
think that's
qualify
probably gonna be a
to have
problem,
the
is
insurance.
it?
No, I don't think so.
No, most of them don't
I
have.
think y'all spend that much time there. I really don't think that's a problem.
Not as a general rule, no, but you have to understand the possibility exists. I know it's a kind of difficult concept to grasp.
You got it figured out and you don't.
You see what we're,
That's why we'd have to look at the end of the year and see where we're at, I
well,
guess.
we just, if we say they're working 30 hours on average, we're gonna have to offer them the
We have
coverage.
to, that's the law. We've
So,
got to offer it to them, the insurance.
But we were just kind of in a conundrum about the benefits and the overtime and that type of thing.
Well, you
Okay,
can,
why can we not give them the full-time package of the benefits and let them still stay on call?
well, if you make them full-time, you got to give them vacation.
I know, but why can't we?
We got enough people.
We just need a policy in place that
We'll
says
have to hire
that.
some more.
You said you were gonna have to hire someone in their way.
We'll have to hire one more at least.
And we can make that a part-time person as to be
To
a
fill in.
floater, to
Right,
be a on-call floater.
that's correct.
Okay.
And all we
That
need
gets really
is a
rough.
policy to that
Yeah, I know.
effect. So when audit comes in and says,
So they basically,
Okay,
usually, I don't think we have to have anybody extra for these 3 shifts, because these 3 gentlemen cover it. If it's days, second or third, if one of them can't work and they can't get Rick to work, because Rick can't work days because he's got a full-time job. And a lot of times, it's just a weekend or maybe Irwin shift that he could work, because he's not even in town a lot of times.
well, if we make that Mr. Jim's supervisor, he'd be worrying about all that.
Well, he keeps it covered anyway, I'm telling y'all he does.
Okay, everything that Charles has said is gearing to saying that we would put this shift into full-time positions with full-time benefits and staying on an on-call schedule as part of the benefit package of being a judicial commissioner. Is that acceptable to be put into a policy for you?
whatever y'all decide. I mean, it does not
Yeah.
matter to us.
They'll just work it out, whatever. The
We
committee's
just
got
need
to
to know.
decide.
I'm okay with that, are you?
yeah.
You know, and we're saying that as an
Now
advantage.
state the motion where I know I understand it.
Well, I want to say that I'm saying this because that would justify the lower pay. on a third shift type situation.
It's like a benefit of working a weekend shift, or working 3 days, and getting paid for 40 hours, but you're only there less. That's a benefit package of working a weekend shift.
You know, and, okay.
So what you're saying is all three will be full-time, but they will still just be on call?
No, I would say 2 of them, because this third one, we were talking
Yeah,
about
he-
turning him into a supervisor.
Yeah, we need to, I think, go back and vote on that,
He's
him being a
required.
supervisor and being there. I think we need to back up and do that.
So what we need is the job title of these 2 people.
We never have voted on it, guys, we got
I'll
to,
make a motion.
don't you agree? Don't
So, just make sure we vote.
I make a motion, Mr. Hartman be the supervisor and the scheduler,
With the job responsibilities we
job
talked,
responsibilities,
Monitor time sheets.
monitor the time
the
sheet.
scheduling, and, he's already doing all this anyway, and he knows what it is.
The training.
But he
It's
may
all the
know
training.
that it still needs to be documented.
sure it does.
Okay, and he needs to know what his job responsibilities are. And because now, when you have a
Time,
person,
training, and scheduling, that's the main 3 things, isn't it?
well, what about also
And writing warrants.
Hey, you still gotta write warrants, yeah.
What about if he sees that one of the other employees is not doing, or is told that they're not doing accurate, complete forms? That would be then his responsibility to make
Come
sure
back
that
to this committee
they're
and
following
tell us.
the procedures and they're doing their job correctly, right? That's what supervisors do, so.
Well, does he give like verbal warnings or written warnings?
That probably needs to come from this committee.
Yeah, I think it needs to come here. I don't think we need to put that responsibility on him.
We got a
I personally
motion.
do not. Okay. Everybody understand Tommy's motion?
Would you restate your motion, Tom?
I make a motion, Mr. Hartman be the supervisor and the scheduler and oversee the time sheets
And training.
and training
Is there a
of the
possibility,
judicial commissioner.
I'm sorry, is there a possibility just to put that as a position and not a person by name? Because I mean,
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yes.
Well,
Let there be a
okay.
supervisor.
Right now, I think we gotta name the supervisor, don't we, as far as who it is?
Not in the,
Not in the
No,
policy.
okay. We won't do a name then, we can get by without it. We'll make sure we're complying to the law, that's what I wanna do. Okay.
Do you have a question?
you gotta have a second, you don't have.
You gotta have a second, but I was trying to wait on you getting it wrote down. You okay? You want to second it? Okay. We got a motion and a second. All in favor?
No discussion, you gotta.
Yeah, any discussion?
You got a question?
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that's okay. Yeah, my question would be, with Mr. Hartman as supervisor, of course, y'all have already talked about if there was a problem with writing of warrants by one of the judicial commissioners, it wouldn't be on Mr. Hartman's responsibility
That's
to
correct.
discipline him. Are you saying now it is this board's responsibility to discipline a judicial commissioner who maybe writes an improper warrant or something like that, or what?
Yes.
In other words, the buck stops here.
Well, it's gotta stop somewhere.
Well, I'm saying,
And I don't think that needs to be his responsibility.
no, and I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that, when a citizen approaches this committee and asks a question about an improper warrant, the 5 of y'all are going to be able to answer their question and delve out a discipline.
Well, if it depends on what it is, we would need to know in advance if citizens gonna do that. We may have to get an attorney in here, one of the county attorney. I don't know that we'd know the answer. I mean,
But we would begin the researching process.
yeah, we would find out, absolutely.
Now, now, see, I guess my issue, or my concern would be, not a concern, I guess my interest would be, is if we have an issue involving the writing of a warrant that's improper and needs to be corrected, would it be my position to assist that judicial commissioner in correcting that problem? I mean, if-
Yeah, correctly what they've done.
Yes, absolutely. I think so. Yeah, help them get it correctly.
if I'm going to train them and I'm going to supervise them, I just would like to kind of make sure I understand what that responsibility is.
Right. We don't need
I don't-
warrants wrote and then being thrown out as soon as they get them. They need to be correct to start with.
I think issues within the judicial commissioner's venue should be addressed there. Issues involving discipline and hiring and termination should, in my opinion, should fall under the purview of the policy and personnel.
I ain't got any problem with that.
I agree with that.
Okay. We ran into an issue, me and Jim did, on a warrant, that the officer didn't give me the full information and then came to Jim the next day and said, I need this warrant amended. And Jim says, why don't you come back and talk to Dave? Is that, we're right on it, but Jim could go ahead then and maybe fix this problem if it was brought to his attention, or would he still need to refer it back?
That's where he's gonna make a decision.
An executive decision, right?
He'll say, gosh, this is something I can easily fix, or he's gonna have to call you and ask you questions about it. you know.
What they told you.
Mhm.
And then I would see nothing wrong with him fixing it at that point. If they didn't tell you everything, then he's got more information to
Right.
fix it.
Thank you.
Any way that we can help, I want everybody, all the commissioners to know we're here to help. But you get into a lot of the warrant things, we don't know the answers to those things. You know, I've never wrote a warrant, none of this committee has, so we don't know the law, we don't know what the codes are. So, but y'all do, but that doesn't mean you might not need our help some, and we're always here if you need us. And we'll call a meeting and we'll do, if we can't answer it, we're gonna find an answer. We do have a county attorney, and he'll come if we request him to, and we'll get an answer. I mean, that's what they deal with, and the district attorney does, so if we have to, we'll go with them.
Or the DA's office.
Yeah, the DA's office, sure.
When is this to take effect?
Well, if we haven't voted on it yet, as far as I'm concerned, right now.
Well, I think it needs to go to full court probably.
Oh, okay.
As a resolution of policy to be
All right.
accepted.
I didn't think about that, but yes, it does, which will be 2 weeks from Monday night, 2 weeks
April
from the
18th.
19th. That's when
If
it'll
it's
take
done in
effect.
time.
Yeah, if we can get it done to go out in the docket this week. It goes out Thursday, on
Right.
Thursday.
Okay, that would be creating the position resolution, but then once that passes, then you name Mr. Hartman to have that position, and then you got to establish the pay, and the pay has to be budgeted, so that wouldn't be until next
Yeah.
year.
I think the pay is gonna be another meeting because, you know, we gotta make sure all this is approved through the full commission, and if it is, we're beginning to work on budget, and that's when we need to work on his pay.
And the pay, I don't think has to be addressed in policy. I looked back at, we were provided Putnam County's policy by CTAS, and they just, in their policy, indicated that, you know, the pay would be determined by the county court. So I think that could actually be put in a policy, because Mr. Hartman has all these years of experience where somebody else might want the pay to be the same. Just
And as
a
long-
recommendation.
Okay, even if it goes through the committee, then it still has to go through budget and finance and all that, right? To even be approved, so, and that could roll over past July.
Well, they're meeting the 11th. I mean, if we, of course, it's not something you want to rush into. April the 11th is when financial management meets, and budget and finance. Not for budget, but for the policy, if it was done in time. But I mean, you probably don't want to rush into anything.
Well, no matter how much we rushed, if you
We
gave him
can't
the job, you couldn't pay for it until after the budget was passed. The whole process of
budget.
that, and that won't be until July, correct?
Correct.
So there's your answer, July.
That's certainly anything that this committee or even the county court decides is certainly satisfactory with me. I have no issues whatsoever.
I think we still have to pass it in this committee, don't we, to get
Pass it to forward, to forward.
Yes.
That is part of it.
So I got a motion and a second then. You agree with that? You got it down? All in favor? Aye. Okay. And then we'll get it to the full court next meeting, which is about 2 weeks, I think, from tonight. I may be wrong about that, I believe it is. Okay, now we need
Do you want to talk about April the 11th, creating that so it can go to them to go to the full board meeting? So it's got to go through financial management before it can go to full board, for the full commission?
Financial management, budget, finance, they both meet on the 11th. You know,
Well,
this
we
might
just
not if it's just
approved it. We'll have to
policy.
go.
This won't have to because it's just policy,
There's
it's
no
not obligation.
money involved right now,
Yeah.
no, I don't think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can have it ready in time to go on the docket?
Yeah.
And when does that have to be done by?
I mail those on Thursday of this
3
week.
days from now?
Does it give you enough time? Is that enough time, Carol? Is it enough time for you to get it in there?
Oh, I can get it in there if you all get it to me.
How quick do we gotta get it to you, those,
By Thursday?
by Thursday?
Well,
Now,
Probably by
you can turn it
Wednesday.
really
By
fast.
Do what?
Now you gotta, somebody's got to write it by Thursday.
Okay.
And I don't care to do that. And what I can do is email it. Once we get it drafted, we can email it to you guys and let y'all take a look at it, see if it's what y'all want in the policy. And if it is, then I can give it to Carol to put in the docket, but just let us know what we need to do and we'll get it done.
Okay, then our next recommendation, or we need to finish up, is what, are they gonna be part-time on call, or are we gonna make them full-time? What are we gonna do on that? We've gotta have a director, or Linda does, she's gotta know what we're gonna do.
I make a motion that we take the other 2 judicial shifts. It's two shifts, right?
Other than the supervisor.
And make them full-time positions with full-time benefits that allow them to work the on-call schedule. And
I don't wanna take that away from them.
that's
I
the
want
motion.
both to take their own call away from them.
No, because if you're gonna say you have to be there 40 hours, that's gonna be pretty hard on somebody like Dave.
Exactly.
Just one question if I could.
Sure.
The overtime, is it gonna be calculated based on the 40 hours on call? Or would it be hours worked?
On the on-call.
On the on-call, so if they put in 43 hours, whether they're there or not, it's gonna be overtime
No, I think it ought to be on
on
Actual
site?
work.
actual work
Okay.
hours for its overtime.
If they don't work 40 hours, they get paid for 40.
So the timesheet that we
So
need
we're
to
right back
develop
where we
needs
was
to
at.
have a
You go out
place
right
on
on
there
time card, guys.
for on-call and...
They still got to be a place on-site and on-call.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's what we were getting at the whole time, I agree with that.
And that would be,
Are we complying with the law, or you working that?
we're compliant with the law. It's just, you really got to hope that your employees are not just sitting out there calling themselves working. It's just something you gotta be cautious with. So I think that,
Well, I don't think either one of them gonna sit there and not do nothing. If they ain't got nothing to do, they're gonna leave.
because that's the advantage of being on call, so you can come and go.
Okay, when you're talking about documenting your own call though, are we going to keep the same time sheet that we've got when we've got hours on call versus hours actually worked, and we just put that number in at the end of the day? Or are you going to want us to say, okay, at 3:15 I came on the job, at 4:45 I left, then at 5:30 I came back, and
Yes, but you're going to have guidelines of the increments of time, with the 7-minute law is in effect.
Up or down?
Up or down, and so it's
I mean, for our purposes, the hours that they're there is all we have
That's
to
all
have
they
as
need
long
to
as we
write
have
in
a
and-
supervisor,
If you're there 2 hours or
as long as
whatever.
Mr. Hartman understands that,
There's actually work.
they're on call 8 hours, but they put on their time sheet they work. Because that's what y'all are doing now, right?
We're using it as
It'd have to be as long as it's paid for each day.
what we're putting down now is that at the end of the 8-hour shift or whatever, we look back, you can keep notes or however it's calculated. You look back and say, I was here, out of the 8-hour shift, I was there 5 hours or 3.5 hours. and just put down that total. In my mind, and again.
Make it simpler for you.
Just my opinion, it
Make
would
it
seem to me
simple.
like a nightmare to try to calculate that
It would be.
each trip, if it were 15 or 20 trips out there, I mean, you got 30 entries.
And for our purposes, that's all we have to have for our
Just a
purposes,
total.
because, yes, because we're gonna have a supervisor, you're gonna
And I
find it.
understand that
Yeah.
concept.
Okay.
Okay.
So no more in and outs. It's what time the shift starts, what time your shift ends.
They're 8 hours a day, and then actually what they work.
They're still gonna write down the actual time that they're actually
That they
there.
I
work.
want to ask you something. Is that 8 hours, does that include lunch or not?
They get a luncheon at it. Well, I mean, not if they're on call like Jim, he'll.
I know, but the 8-hour shift is what time to what time?
Well, it's
7 a.m. to 3 p.m., 3 p.m. to 11 p.m., 11 p.m. to
Okay,
7.
perfect.
So that's 8
8 solid hours, okay.
8 solid.
Perfect, that solves that problem. I thought.
and we've always done that. If they happen to leave and go eat and they get a call, they take their food with them or put it up or something. That's what they've always done.
Because they're
And they
still on
work 8
call for that hour.
Right.
I just want to make sure you didn't have to worry about lunch now.
There's plenty of opportunity to get lunch. As a matter of fact, I put a little refrigerator and a microwave in that office so that we all could have that. In anticipation of the possible staying out there.
Okay. All right, we got another motion in a second, don't we? Would you read that so I know what I'm
We'll read that
voting on?
motion.
I made that motion.
Yeah, read it.
Would you please read it?
I'm just sitting there thinking, what did I say?
We gotta be on the same page, y'all, now.
Okay, what are we have a supervisor and 2 judicial commissioners that are on 40-hour week work schedules. Okay. I make the motion is that the 2 judicial commissioners that work the scheduled 40 hours a week become full-time employees and be offered full-time employee benefits with the benefit of being able to do the on-call schedule.
And overtime to be calculated based on hours worked.
And overtime to be calculated based on hours worked.
Yeah. Y'all good with that? Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Not worried about getting in a hurry because she made the motion, she'll know what to put in there. Okay, now we're not behind on any of our motions or anything now, or we got everything caught up? Okay. And y'all are okay with all this, everybody? Y'all are the ones working it, so I don't want anybody unhappy because you 3 gentlemen we need all the time. And I know y'all work hard on this, and I do appreciate what you do, I really do. The only other thing that I can think of, I did mention new hire. I would like for this committee to make a motion and approve that Carol go ahead and post to get a new hire part-time, a fill-in. And if y'all are good with that, I'd like to get that
So the
motion.
people working the weekends are not filling in any for us through the week?
Actually, no, the people that's working the weekend are not filling in for us during the week.
Typically not.
And we've really only got one part-time, and that's Rick Bond, and Rick works a full-time shift, and all he could work is second or third.
Well, he couldn't work all of second.
He couldn't work all of second. But he is working, coming up one Sunday here, 24 hours.
But it'll be a weekend, so it's
Weekends, and
available.
he can do that. But we need to hire, my thoughts are we need to hire somebody that can work any of this time. In case one of these guys are sick or they're gone.
We're going to excuse
Thank you.
ourselves. We've took up enough of your time. so
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
I'll call you, Linda, and tell you.
Yeah, and I'll start working.
I'll call you too, Carol, make sure that we get
This
motion
is for
through.
this meeting.
Thank y'all, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Carol. I'll stick the other one under the door.
Okay.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. I really do. Thank you too, Karen.
I do have a question, Ms. Hilda Martin.
Yes.
When school is out, will you think that she would consider putting in more hours now with her situation?
She might. I'd prefer to wait a little while to ask her since her
Right.
husband was just
Right.
buried a couple of days ago.
But I know that, but I was referring to the point that school
Y'all
would
know
be out,
that.
so she wouldn't be needed out there.
Before.
She used to, when Jessica worked, Jessica would basically take off during the summer and let Hilda work. The question became, how does the school system pay? Do they pay on a 12-month basis or a 10-month basis? And them 2 months that she could work it through.
And I believe the school system picked her salary.
They do.
Her pay.
And that's where we've had a problem.
2.5 hours was all that she did, was not scheduled at the school system.
So we're gonna have to wait on that. I feel like Hilda will work if she can. I think she will. But
And I don't know about Wally. He's willing to pick up some more on that.
usually not, is my...
Typically not.
Yeah.
My understanding, while he's working, all he wants
Wants to work, that's what he told me. So, that's why I feel like we need to hire at least one more.
And if I might add, and if it's not interfering with your decision, is that if it's at all possible to hire somebody that's retired that can work the full gambit of hours available,
Oh, yeah, we gotta have that.
or someone that, though not retired, perhaps just not.
And we've had some people that have approached us that want a job that are just exactly what he said. So, you know, they would have to fill out an application, we'd have to look at it just like we would anybody else's. But they'd definitely be considered. One of them, I think, has been a commissioner at one time for a long time. Now retired and wants to do it again. So, you know, but we don't need to get into the applications or who they are or anything until they actually
And
fill one out. He
please-
could change his mind and...
On the application, the next time, please screen them, you know, for their email won't be on there, because some people's email, it's pretty easy to see who it is, and just have that whited out.
Okay, I'll take care of that. I'll make
Yeah.
sure that's not on there.
Because I've seen some come through, and I knew exactly who that was.
So you
It didn't have anything to do with whether they got hired or not,
All right.
but, you know, if we're gonna do it before we don't know who it is,
I'd rather do it that way.
and
Why
they're-
do we do that like that? Why do you not want to know who why do you not want to know who it is? Would you
When
wanna
you're
hire-
looking
well, when you're going through the whole stack.
The stack of applications,
And you can get down to the,
you know, we never have, I'll put it that way. I don't know that it probably knew who it was. I mean, some of them, obviously, I know when I see the name. I knew Jim Hartman when I saw his name. You know, there's no doubt about it. And David's, you know, did not know Irwin's. I did not know him. Some you do and some you don't, you know. But I don't know that that's a secret, why it would be.
but if we're not required, I mean, if we don't want to know their name when we get the first list of applications in, then
We do know their name, it's on the application. We just keep it in the committee is what we do.
I was thinking we didn't say the name.
I certainly wouldn't want somebody to get called and get their feelings hurt because we didn't even look at their application. Well, we may have a reason we didn't look at it, you know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, some of these people can't write and can't even read what the application says, and they worked at Walmart and...
But I don't wanna put
want to be a judicial commissioner.
Charles' name in there, he couldn't write.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to do that, you know. Does that make sense why I don't want to do that? I just don't, I don't personally, I don't think that's good. I'd rather lay it over in a stack and say, I don't think this person's qualified and go on. Maybe, I may be wrong.
I think that's what we've been doing is we're just looking at the qualifications
We
of the
have.
person and not look at the name. They had a number on them.
Well, yeah, that's basically, we still see the name, it's on there. So, But you've made a motion that we do, or did you make that motion?
Now, I was thinking they didn't have the name on there.
I don't think we need a motion for that, just do it one way or the other.
I mean, that's just a policy that we.
Yeah, that's not a problem. We can do
Policy
that
we can do.
But I'm talking about actually hiring. We gotta have a motion for this,
Okay.
to hire new employees,
And this new part-time employee would be called what?
part-time fill-in is my understanding. Wasn't that what she said there a while ago? So that's what they would be.
I'd put that in the form of a motion that we hire.
We're not hiring a full-time position like these gentlemen. We're not doing that.
No. That we-
Hopefully not. Let's hope these guys quit on me. I'm in trouble with. Yes, sir.
Question. During your interview process, could you like have Jim maybe up there to field some questions?
I've already asked Jim the next time we do that if he would come, and he has agreed to do that, because he works with it every day. and
He
I
can
think-
look at people and read them and see things that we wouldn't see.
That's correct.
I hope I'm not that steadfast.
Well, with your years of experience,
Policeman many years, but
don't be looking at me like that.
But I think it'd be good if Jim was agreeable to come. He obviously doesn't have to, but I'd like for him to
I'd be
come.
more than happy.
Be happy for either one of y'all to come. There's no reason, these are open meetings, y'all can come too. And if you see, we move one in and the other, and we have a talking session between. Have no problem if y'all got a question or something you want to say, that's a great time to do it. Y'all agree with that? I don't have any problem with it. We've never done that exactly like that, but I still don't have a
Neither
problem
is the
with it.
supervisor either.
No, we haven't.
So that would be one of his, that would be one of his.
You good with that?
Certainly.
Okay, so you made a motion to do a new hire?
Yes.
Second. All in favor? I will call Carol tomorrow and get her to go ahead and get that posted. That's something I've been working on with Linda too, trying to make sure we had it posted correctly, what we're hiring and what we're doing. We spent some time with it. And I would really like to, does anybody have any question or anything they want to say? If nobody does, then I would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion adjourned.
Second. All in favor? Thank y'all. I'm sorry I took up so much time, but we had to get it the best we could.
I've got to go.
See you.
I got another one here.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you coming.
I gotta go with her.
Thank you.
It was sad.
They would have a full-time, that would have been